Hey, what's the deal? Miss your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 9:30 p.m. March 9th, 2025. You know what I mean? And right now I'm just chilling. Nobody's watching AEW Revolution. I'm just, it's funny because like I'm seeing shit on the internet, on Twitter and stuff. Right now, I'm actually like going back and forth, watching the Cavs and the Bucks. You know what I mean? I'm watching, Giannis. You know what I mean? Giannis and Dame Dollar going up against fucking Spider. Spider is nice, yo. You know what I mean? Spider is that dude, man. I think Spider would have been well off coming to the New York Knicks. Fuck the Knicks. I don't give a fuck about the Knicks. Fuck that shit. You know what I mean? And also, how the fuck do I forget about saying this? You know what I mean? Especially a Brooklynite like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, rest in peace to Big. You know what I mean? Because, like 28 years ago, I was like, damn, man. I remember that night too, B. You know what I mean? I remember that night clearly, man. Like when he passed, like I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm like, because you heard like 6 months earlier, Pac had got shot and killed. And then like a neighbor was telling me about what happened to Big. And then, I turned to the radio and feel like fucking sadness. And then, you turn to MTV, it's like, fuck, But yeah, rest in peace to Big, man. Like, man, But this is the third discussion. This is the third video of the night and the last video of the night. You know what I mean? Because a motherfucker got to go to work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And this is the second discussion video of the night. I'm just going to keep it a stack with y'all about, pro wrestling as a whole. And I know a lot of people are not going to like what I'm about to fucking say, but people don't like the truth. They don't. They really don't. If Vince McMahon Jr. was not put in that position in, I believe, 1983, 1984, pro wrestling as we know it probably would be dead. You know what I mean? I think pro wrestling as a whole would wound up like fucking, American Gladiators and, Roller Jam, like neat sports entertainment that, it came and went. A lot of people in the pro wrestling space at that time was not thinking about the shit that Vince was thinking about with pro wrestling. It's funny too because Vince didn't like pro wrestling. He hated professional wrestling. But it's funny too because this is the only thing that Vince was able to succeed in life. You know what I mean? And despite hating the fucking sport, Vince made Vince a millionaire. And he had ideas. You know what I mean? Vince was a businessman. If you look at Vince's business background, right? He had a lot of failures outside of professional wrestling. Even before he got into professional wrestling, like he wanted to be like a promoter and shit, right? So I think he owned the hockey team, a minor league hockey team. He did the shit for Evel Knievel and everything. But pro wrestling is basically, what made him really popular, right? And, he had ideas. I'm assuming that the ideas that he wanted to do other stuff. Oh, shit. Like my phone dropped. Hold on, let me see if I'm still recording. All right, good. I'm still recording. The ideas that he wanted to do for other stuff, he added into pro wrestling. And it worked. From toys to merchandise to video games and shit. It was him who did that. And then others started following suit. You know what I'm saying? Other wrestling promotions started doing the exact same shit. Like Vince, let's keep it a buck. Vince Jr. is hands down the greatest wrestling promoter of all time. And yes, even though he went out, disgraced, you know what I mean? God damn. Fuck. Even though Vince McMahon went out disgraced, I'm dropping my fucking phone because I'm taking laundry out. Even though Vince McMahon is a disgrace, he single-handedly is the sole reason why pro wrestling is the way it is today. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a stat. It was Vince who had a vision. And that vision, is the main reason why, the business is what it is today. That vision is, because he's seen stuff that a lot of these promoters fail to see. And with Vince's vision, a lot of these promotions went under, especially the ones who did not want to adapt. You know what I mean? Because, Vince seen pro wrestling as, again, as a business, as opposed to like other people in the space where, it was there. It was, fun and entertainment. But again, it was like, it was corny. You know what I mean? It was fucking corny, And so Vince changed that. You know what I mean? He changed all that shit. You know what I mean? Because pro wrestling became, it became popular in the mainstream. Remember, there were people who were putting pro wrestling down, right? But now, how many fucking decades later, where wrestlers are making millions and millions, they're making good money. It doesn't matter what, and mind you, national TV exposure and everything else. Once, and it was perfect because the MTV generation came in. You know what I'm saying? And once they seen Hulk Hogan, once he had the idea for Hulk Hogan, who by the way, Vince's father wanted nothing to do with. You know what I'm saying? Once he seen Hulk Hogan, Vince was like, you know what? He has a plan. And again, everything was fucking perfect. MTV, you know what I'm saying? WrestleMania came in. No other promotion was doing that shit. No other promoter was doing that. Like, come on. You think Jim Crockett was going to go and fucking, get celebrity. If you think about it, what celebrities was actually going to wrestling events, outside of WWE during that time? Huh? You tell me. You tell me. There was none. There was none. You know what I mean? Like Vince made WrestleMania a spectacle, right? And looking at it now, it's like, but if you think about it, in order for you to kick off pro wrestling into the mainstream, right? You needed to take measures. And look at what the fuck he did. You know what I mean? He took measures and everything. And then, of course, 98, forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Vince, and listen, I got to hand it to Vince because with Vince was able to go outside the box. He had nothing to fucking lose. 98, the Attitude Era, right? He wound up, taking risks. And again, this is what made wrestling what it is today. What you see now, right? With the Attitude Era and, the adult themed storylines and everything else. The Attitude Era to me made Vince, it really, really made him a millionaire because, the internet was coming in. Like, we already knew how high WWE was, back in the 80s and such, with Vince's ideas, right? With the MTV generation and such. And yes, WCW did play a role into that, right? But let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, right? Grunge was there, you know what I mean? Hip hop came in. You know what I'm saying? MTV was still there, right? The internet had just came in. You know what I'm saying? Cable TV, the Monday Night Wars, again, Vince needed to, he again, if it wasn't for Vince going towards the outside box of giving adult entertainment and such, right? Like I said, wrestling would not be where it is today. And I don't even think professional wrestling would even be alive at that point. I think it'll just still be carny. It'll still be, it'll be like the fucking circus and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. You know, and you know, even though Vince McMahon is disgraced and such, I feel like if it wasn't for his ideas, and again, this is a man who did not like pro wrestling. If it wasn't for his ideas and such, we would not be in, you know, we would not be in the position that we are in today with this beautiful sport of pro wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Again, the other thing too, pay-per-view. Pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Pay-per-view. No other company. Well, no other company was doing that because before that you had closed circuit TV, right? And yes, someone's going to say, "Oh, but what about Starrcade? They did closed circuit TV and blah 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 blah." There's a difference between that and pay-per-view, nigga. There's a difference. And then they had to adapt to pay-per-view. You know what it is? Also, why the promoters did not like Vince, because again, he changed and fucked up the entire formula of what pro wrestling was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like he made wrestling family friendly, right? And again, it fucking worked. Look at the Attitude Era also. You know, look how much money people were spending on, you know, video cassettes, video games, action figures. You know what I'm saying? Fucking music. You know what I'm saying? T-shirts. You know, merchandise, the whole fucking nine. You know what I'm saying? It was Vince who did that shit. Nobody else. It was Vince. You know what I mean? WCW was doing the exact same thing, but they had to follow suit. Even ECW was following fucking suit. There was no choice. There was no choice for those promotions to follow suit. There was no choice. You know what I'm saying? And again, this was all Vince's idea. This was all Vince. This is all Vince, me. It's all Vince. You know what I mean? So you can't, you know, again, you know, Vince changed everything. And there's a lot more too. And yes, like I said, he had a lot more failures outside of thing, you know, than in pro wrestling, right? I mean, WWE World, right? I went to the restaurant many times. It was okay. Nothing spectacular. You know, the XFL. See, the XFL is a little spotty. I mean, the XFL still lives on, but of course, with The Rock taking over and such, you know, where he merged it with the United States Football League and made the UFL and such. And again, like, you know, outside of that, like he had other ventures outside they wanted to do it that would have been a fucking failure. I mean, you know, if I'm not mistaken, he also wanted to do a casino. No, it was WCW that wanted to do a casino, right? And that failed, you know. But yeah, if it wasn't for Vince, wrestling probably would have been completely dead going into the 90s because a lot of shit would have been outdated and everything else. You know what I mean? So it would have been, it would be just like fucking, you know, Monster Jam and fucking, you know, the circus and shit. Like, I love the circus. I love magic too. You know what I mean? I'm a big kid with that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm about to be out, guys. You know what I'm saying? This might be the longest video I've done. You know what I mean? Because it's a couple seconds going into 14 minutes. But anyway, guys, I am out. I definitely will catch y'all tomorrow. So I hope there's news tomorrow. I got my fingers crossed, B. You know what I'm saying? But we shall see. All right? So I'm going to holler at y'all mañana. Peace!